In every organization, team dynamics are like the hidden current beneath the surface. You may have a talented group of individuals, but if their personalities clash or their roles are mismatched, performance suffers. This is where the power of facial profiling enters the picture. Focus AI helps decode not just individual personality traits, but how those traits interact within a team. When you learn to read the roles written on people's faces, you begin to understand why some teams thrive, while others fail despite having equally capable members. Let's begin with a fundamental truth. Every team needs a balance of energy types. Some members are natural leaders, others are peacekeepers, some challenge the norm, while others bring structure and execution. Each of these traits often shows up in facial architecture. For example, a person with a broad forehead and square jaw is typically decisive and action-oriented. These individuals often step up in leadership roles, not because they chase power, but because their facial traits suggest an internal drive to solve problems quickly and lead with clarity. On the other hand, someone with rounded cheeks and a soft chin may be more nurturing, collaborative, and team-centric. These individuals act as emotional anchors in high-pressure environments. They may not speak first, but they often speak last with wisdom that grounds the team. Their presence ensures that the team does not implode under conflict and that emotional needs are acknowledged and respected. Focus AI makes the personality traits visible, helping managers place people where they belong rather than where their resume suggests they should go. Then there are the visionaries. People with high arched brows, slightly tilted eyes, and expressive lips tend to be creative thinkers. Their minds race with possibilities, often beyond the current goals of the team. These individuals are crucial for innovation, but when placed in roles with rigid boundaries, they quickly feel stifled. Understanding their facial cues allows leaders to give them space to innovate without losing them to boredom or frustration. It is not about favoring certain people, but about aligning energy with function. Let's talk about the stabilizers in a team. These are individuals with straight, medium-thick eyebrows, balanced eyes, and proportionate features. They are not overly dominant nor passive. They bring balance, consistency, and a methodical approach to work. They thrive on routine and predictability, making them the operational backbone of any team. Focus AI helps managers recognize this crucial trait, often overlooked, because stabilizers are quiet contributors. However, without them, teams spiral into chaos or burnout. In conflict situations, facial profiling offers another layer of insight. People with tension in the jawline or a deeply furrowed brow may naturally confront or resist change. This can create friction with more adaptable team members. But instead of labeling them as difficult, facial profiling helps leaders recognize this as a sign of deep-rooted protectiveness or loyalty to structure. This individual might be the best person to lead quality control or risk assessment, where their skepticism becomes an asset rather than a barrier. Facial symmetry and proportion also play a subtle but important role in how teams view each other. Faces that appear more symmetrical tend to inspire more trust subconsciously, while asymmetrical features may cause initial hesitation. This unconscious bias can impact team cohesion, especially in hybrid or multicultural teams. By making teams aware of these patterns, Focus AA forces empathy and encourage people to see beyond appearance and understand the strength behind every trait. Now, let's dive into the practical application. Imagine onboarding a new team for a high-stakes project. Instead of using only a skills matrix, you use Focus AI to analyze each team member's face. You discover that two individuals with similar skill sets have completely different emotional responses to pressure. One has a narrow face, thin lips, and high cheekbones, suggesting high focus and self-discipline. The other has a wider face, full lips, and lower brows, indicating empathy and adaptability. Assigning them the same task might create emotional fatigue or performance imbalance. With profiling, you build roles around strengths instead of forcing conformity. The benefits of this approach ripple across the team. Misunderstandings reduce. People feel seen. Introverts with soft features aren't mistaken for being disinterested. Bold-featured individuals aren't seen as domineering. Everyone communicates better because they start to understand not just what people say, but why they say it the way they do. Communication becomes contextual, not just verbal. Consider leadership succession planning. Traditional performance reviews may overlook quiet leaders who don't self-promote, but focus reveals traits like inward-turning eyes, slightly upturned lips, and defined nasal bridges markers of strong internal motivation and empathetic leadership. These individuals might not raise their hands, but when elevated, they create loyal, purpose-driven teams. Recognizing leadership in the face before it fully manifests in behavior gives companies a major competitive advantage. In fast-growing startups, roles often shift rapidly. One person might handle strategy, sales, and operations in a single week. This fluidity can lead to burnout unless the person's facial traits support high adaptability. People with mobile, expressive faces, strong cheekbones, and animated eyes tend to thrive in chaos. But if you give the same flexibility to someone with a rigid jawline and focused gaze, you risk losing them due to anxiety and disorientation. Focus AA helps prevent this mismatch by predicting role compatibility from the beginning. Remote teams bring their own challenges. Without physical presence, subtle expressions get lost in pixels and filters. By analyzing still images with Focus AI, remote team leads can understand the personality of their members even before the first call. This builds relational intelligence and helps distribute work more intuitively. It also encourages managers to lead with empathy when someone's traits suggest emotional reactivity or a need for affirmation. For HR departments, facial profiling becomes a game changer in conflict resolution. Rather than assigning blame, they use facial data to understand behavioral patterns. For example, an employee with a dominant lower face may be more reactive under perceived injustice. Their emotional outburst isn't disrespect, it's a defense mechanism rooted in their profile. Coaching tailored to their facial energy yields better results than generic counseling sessions. Facial profiling also empowers team members to understand themselves. When an employee realizes that their sharp cheekbones and strong brows make them appear intimidating, they can soften their approach in presentations. When another discovers that their low-set ears and gentle gaze project approachability, they learn to assert themselves more. Awareness drives transformation, not just at the team level, but at the individual level. Great teams are not made by chance. They are carefully orchestrated by leaders who understand psychology, behavior, and now facial structure. Focus IE is not just a tool. It is a mirror, a compass, and a translator. It translates silence into understanding, personality into roles, and differences into synergy. It is the technology of emotional alignment. In the end, teams succeed when they trust, understand, and complement one another. Focus AI makes this process faster, more accurate, and more human. Because behind every task is a person, and behind every person is a face full of stories, strengths, and signals.